All right, here we go. Gonna take y'all around media days, the first day of media days, lots to discuss. We're gonna try to make this happen. I'm holding a laptop. This might not go very well. You can see in the background here with everybody behind me doing a lot of, I hope, not live television, but all the TV folks are here. So, busy day. Tomorrow, Georgia will go, but today, a lot of discussion. Number one, from Brian Kelly talking about how LSU is going to work to get to where the dogs are at right now, and that's going to take some work. But he said that they were going to try to do that. I'm going to sit this thing right down right here. I'm sure I'm going to be in somebody's shot or whatever, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to move much further. Um, yeah, I mean, a media days that. One quote that was very curious to me was talking about Jaden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU, saying there really wasn't much I could do. He just lifted me up, and he kept me, and he just kept me in one hand. Talking about Jalen Carter picking him up at the SEC championship game. This is why this is so crazy. There's so many people moving through here with cameras. It's actually not as bad as it used to be, but I think the biggest thing, and we wrote about this on Dog Post of today, was what Brian Kelly talked about. I'm going to try to put it on the screen here if I can. There it is. Um, he's talking. Brian Kelly was asking asked the question. Excuse me, two different questions about Alabama and Georgia, and he was very specifically asked about Georgia in terms of it being the standard. Because at the beginning of the thing, he was talking about Alabama and the dogs. And then over time, though, he was asked specifically about Georgia. Both of those quotes. He said, Alabama and Georgia continue to hold that mantle of consistency in terms of playing for championships, and that's what we'll be looking for at LSU, playing for championships consistently year in and year out. And then he was asked about the dogs, and he said, that based on how we've recruited and how we've continued to recruit, we'll have a football roster that'll be able to compete with Georgia. Is that right now? No, it is not. But if we continue to do what we were doing, we're going to have a roster that can compete against Georgia. And then it's just a matter of time getting it done on the playing field. Um, it's going to be challenging for LSU to um, really fight this Georgia team in a way that it's going to be challenging for everybody to fight these guys. I mean, they're locked in and loaded. They'll probably be picked to win the league. To whatever day that is, Thursday, I guess that's when the balloting comes out. But um, I think what I took away from today more than anything was that now people are saying, hey, it's Georgia that we're getting measured against. It's not Alabama. That's a pretty big difference when you think about for 10 years. It was it was Alabama that was the standard bearer. That's not the case anymore. Hey, make sure you're picking up double dogs today. You're going to get our 2023 preview included with the with what you see on the screen, which is that photo of Stetson pushing up the Tennessee defender. Can they do it again? The dogs. We'll see. We'll see. I don't always vote, as I've talked about a lot in these media polls at SEC Media Days. I might this time. It depends if it works out for me. They got a lot of signage around here. Just picking up. I'm on Radio Row because I don't want to go into the room where I'm in. People are talking out here. Inside the room that I'm in, people are working. This is work too, by the way, but maybe not. Maybe not the same way those folks are working. I don't want to disturb them, but that we as a conference are now talking about Georgia being the one that people are chasing, or whatever the word is a very different um, a very different space to be in, for sure. It's hard to take the 12 to 13 years of what Alabama's done, almost 14 years of what Alabama's done, and put somebody else in there. I mean, nobody was talking about LSU like this in 2019, or well, excuse me, 2020 after everybody left. You had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and just really good wide receivers. And LSU was just a spectacular team. But with what Georgia's done in these 2 seasons, um, it really says a lot about that program and where they're at, generally speaking. You know what my problem is more than anything during being in. Now I can't tell what time it is. Like I know what time it is, but I stay on Eastern, and I don't switch to Central, so I get confused all the time because I'm only going to be here for a couple of days, so I'm not going to change my life in Central to Eastern. But it really was an LSU heavy day because Eli Drinkwitz. I was in there for that. I also talked to. I should mention this. I talked to Gary Danielson for about 10 minutes today, and Gary had a lot to say about. I asked him a lot of questions about Georgia. That's also in the article that I wrote today over on Dog Post. Here's the quote that Gary had at the end of it. He said, "It would be difficult to replicate the design of the program that Nick created at Alabama. I don't know. I didn't know that it would ever be duplicated. But right now, I don't know if anybody has done what Kirby is putting together right now." And I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the tape a little bit more, um, because I asked him a little bit more about that. But I don't know if I can't remember if Gary Danielson was saying that he has replicated it and he's doing more, or just making the point that how difficult it was to replicate what Alabama has accomplished over time. It's going to be really challenging for anybody to. It's always hard to win the national championship. I don't know if Georgia's made it look easy. I mean, they lost to Alabama in 21. They survived Ohio State. They had a real tight game with Mizzou in 22. But they won the national championship by 50 something points. And that's just not normal. That's just not normal. Um, yeah, you can tell the TV people are going straight to camera hard right now. It's amazing for their 30-second or 2-minute bites of this. But I was talking to somebody else too that's been in the league for a while now, and I think one thing that we forget, those of us who cover the SEC and are around the SEC, and you got Georgia and all these places, you forget how big and powerful this league is. It's not the NFL. It's not, but it's bigger than almost anything else. Um, Football is the sport of the United States of America. It's the sport people care about more than anything. And this is the region of the world, or the region of the country, that is the most intense in its um, fandom, as y'all know from watching these videos, or I know it from y'all watching these videos. Uh, Very few places I think can compete. Maybe the Philly to New York area, I-95, Washington to Boston, but everybody here, cares, and so I think because everyone's swimming in it every single day, folks, they forget how big this league is, how important it is in everyday life here. I mean, it's so funny. You watch people. Man, Paul Finemont's got a security guard with him. Like that's how important this is to everybody. It's crazy, um, but it really matters here. And, it matters more. No, I mean, I think really more than anything, it matters in this league. And this is the start of the league season. We're not there yet. But we'll be there soon. Georgia and Kirby go tomorrow in the morning. We'll have everything for you over on Dog Post. Make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. We'll see you on the site.